Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Cult Film and Review. I'm your host, Cody Everett. This week we are piecing together an episode the best we can because we're talking about Frankenhooker from 1990. Hopefully it's got some boobs in it. Let's just start the show.
Should
The episode does?
Yeah, I'll take my shirt off.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex? Klopex. Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, so we're talking about Frankenhooker tonight. I got Kyle Smith with me. I got Chris Willenbrecht, and I got Michael Salustio, and I'm Cody Everett, as always. I don't know why.
Energy right off the bat.
Well, I'm introducing
Fucking love
myself a lot.
You are.
We're talking about the 1980 film Frankenhooker, if I hadn't said that 3 times already now.
It's all right.
It's fine. You guys love it when I say things over and over
I
again.
like clarity and repeat and repetition.
I'm a big fan of repetition and clarity.
All right, so this movie was Mike's pick, and I guess my question is, Mike, why did you pick a movie you would hate?
There's no guarantee I'm going to hate this film, but we'll wait till the end of the show. We'll keep that as a cliffhanger. But the reason I picked this film, ever since we've done Slither, I've been interested in Frank Henenlotter's work, and I've wanted to cover one of his films.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this would be a good starting point.
And how does it relate to
It's not
Slither?
his most popular, but it's pretty popular.
How does it relate to Slither?
This is James Gunn's one of his favorite directors.
Okay.
Okay.
He drew a lot from his style of filmmaking in Slither. There's even a bar or something in that film called Henenlotter's or something like that. He talks extensively about his influence on that film.
Huh.
I can see it.
Interesting.
Definitely. I mean, once you look at the creature designs in this, and then you kind of go to a Slither, has a similar feel.
Yeah, I got an I don't know what, this is a second movie in a row we've done where I've gotten a strong Dead Alive vibe in the creature design. It's just that 90s era
They knew how to meld skin
weird,
together.
skin being blended together type of thing. It's fucking weird.
Maybe that was a result of them doing their at-home, kind of cooking it in your kitchen sort of effects, and they're well, that's what we got, so fuck it.
I was wondering that. I was wondering if it had something more to do with, this is the fallout from, the Reanimator. This is part
I
of
can
that.
tell you one story that I heard that the explosion scene with all the prostitutes exploding.
Yeah.
That's where they burned. I don't mean to use a pun, but that's where they burned all their budget off, and then they had really nothing left. So he had to call in a third-party pyrotechnic guy to come in and do the other explosions that's at the end of the lab.
Yeah. That's fucking great. Well, blow your load and a hotel room full of prostitutes.
So many
There
puns.
you go. Puns are flying tonight. Chris.
Yes.
Question for you.
What?
What do you think makes Frankenhooker a cult film?
I think Henenlotter's style has a lot to do with its cult status. I think if you look back at his other films, like Basket Case, he sort of always had a vision, almost I would say James Gunn seems to have sort of a style or a vision, or any other John Waters might have a style or a vision.
Style.
It's distinct. It's distinct amongst just cookie cutter Hollywood.
Style in the fact that how it's shot or
Lighting,
how it looks?
the lighting,
or-
number one, is a big thing.
I have a second part.
The creature effects.
I have
I
a
think.
second part of this question.
Okay, sorry. I'm just going. I'm rattling, dude.
Is it how it's shot, how it looks, or is it how it's written? Because he wrote.
Both. I think
He was part.
both.
He's co-writer on this.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, both, definitely.
And the reason I asked that is because this is a made-up story. I don't know if anybody knows that. I watched an interview with him, and he was pitching to the producer. He was pitching a different movie, and the producer, and he read the script, and he was like, "I love the script, but I'm not making this movie."
Mm-hmm.
He was in that meeting. What else do you have? And he just started making up Frankenhooker there. It was after that he got the funding, he wrote the script.
You think he was just thinking about Frankenstein the whole time? And he was just like, shit, this has turned into
there's
Frankenstein.
gotta be some,
Whatever, let's go with it.
There's got to be some loosely based on Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. But
Well, the family's name is Shelleys.
Yeah.
No, and the Franken, his last name is Jeffrey Franken.
Yeah,
It's definitely based off of that. But what I'm saying is, you can tell, at least I can tell, that this is it's thrown together.
I'll agree with that. Yeah.
It's not it's not the most coherent story.
You don't think?
It
so?
opens up with him working on a fucking brain with an eyeball. So
Yeah.
instantly we're in a universe
But
that we
isn't
have to
that, like,
believe that
what-
mad scientists exist because essentially
But
what
isn't that
he is.
Frankenstein? Frankenstein does the same thing. He's just trying to
Yeah.
he's trying to figure out how to reanimate people.
Yeah, but Mary Shelley did it like good. This was
This is-
like you were thrown into a world and like I agree with Cody. Like the first half of the film feels a little like
It's so-
hobbled together.
But don't get me wrong, like, and I love it, but it also has this very cartoony feel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Super cartoony, which I
I mean
love.
that's you know.
I think that's his
other
work.
films.
That's
yeah,
his
I think
work.
that's
But-
his style.
That's what I'm
but,
talking about.
like,
Like,
some-
that's what makes it a cult film. Is that the
Some
fact
people
that
don't
you-
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people, like, when this movie came out, I guess were upset because it's like you can say it's gory. It's not gory.
It's not gory.
No,
It's
there's not actually a lot of
mildly
blood in it at all.
disturbing, I guess. But I wanted to touch on the question you asked Krista about why it's a cult film. I have my own answer.
Kyle
to
was
that.
going to get to you. Kyle,
Yes, Cody. What's up?
what do you think makes Frankenhooker a cult film?
Honestly, I think it's the same exact thing that makes Sleepaway Camp a cult film, which is that final reveal scene, and it's just the reverse of it. For Sleepaway Camp, you pan out and you find out that the girl is a guy, and this one you pan out and you find out that he has the body of a woman, and it's just like it's a shocking reveal. And I think that's like it's the same thing that I think made Society more of a cult film because that last like 30 minutes.
See, here's where I'm going to disagree a little bit on this one. Did anyone think the ending was just so quick and out of fucking nowhere that it didn't hit me like that? I was just like, this is it. This is the end. That's what happened.
You know what?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what it reminded me of.
Like, I didn't think he knew how to end the movie.
No, I don't believe that at all. I think it was a throwback to pretty much every Twilight Zone I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how a lot of Twilight Zones end. There's a whole story, and then the main character, like a twist will happen where he kind of gets his due. Like, you know what I mean? Like his comeuppance.
Yeah, definitely.
And I felt like, I mean, take what you will from the ending, but I think that was the understanding was that Jeffrey was in fact like he definitely wasn't all there.
Yeah.
But he also wasn't trying to create this girl with the best intentions in mind.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
He was not trying to create it with the best intentions in mind.
No.
Why do you think that?
I think
I feel like he had like an undying love for his.
yeah, but
girlfriend.
also he
Yeah.
was also trying to give her like the perfect body
Yeah.
with the perfect breast and that was like the thing was that his obsession with the female form, like the objectification.
Right.
I felt like that was what it is. Well, now you're a woman because you didn't seem to care that my body got saved, so it doesn't matter.
Well, do you
right?
think if it would have all went to plan and he didn't have to hobble together what was left of the hookers, that she wouldn't have woken up and been like, "Hey, you did a good job. I look good.
guess you
I
could
don't
have
look
said,
like a Frankenhooker."
I guess you could say that. But the fact that he had to pick the best legs and the best arms, and the
Yeah,
best
well, can I
breasts-
tell you something?
Go on.
If I died and my wife was to bring me back and I didn't look like Zorro, I'd be pissed.
Like what? You can give me Zorro's body?
You couldn't give me his accent. That was amazing.
You
by the
couldn't
way,
hook me. You couldn't hook me up with that steroid-ridden body. What the hell?
that's what I'm talking about.
That dude was gonna burst.
No, but I mean, going back to what I was saying, I mean, come on, that last 30 minutes is honestly like comes out of nowhere with these like hobbled together corpses of prostitutes. Like one has no legs but has a mouth with a vagina and is supposed to be. It's just like, what the fuck am I watching?
Which made no sense. It's like, why didn't her body parts meld together then?
yeah, exactly. Well, because they didn't get electrocuted. That's why.
Oh, that's right.
There
yeah.
you go.
You're
That was
right.
a big
Boom.
deal.
Science.
Science. That's 100% correct. I didn't think of that. All right, so what did you guys? Well, overall, what did you think of like the lack of gore? As far as like in the special effects, do you think it added to the comedy element of it, or do you think that it hurt it in a way for a horror film?
Well, he's talked about it. He's gone on to say that he doesn't consider himself a horror director at all. That he considers himself an exploitation director. In which case, this is totally an exploitation film.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I mean, that was his excuse for why there wasn't a lot of blood.
See-
was that he doesn't see himself as really a horror film.
and this is one of my questions
Director.
too. I was going to have. This is kind of a lot of reviews that I read on this film knocked it. Said it was basically like a softcore porn. And after watching it, I'm not nowhere even fucking near that.
I think
I
this
wouldn't
is
know.
a comedy first. I think this is a comedy
Yeah.
first.
It
Like
just
if-
boobs are in it. That's
Yeah,
it. Like they play an actual part in the movie in a way. Like it fits the movie.
Like in an important part too,
Yeah.
because the guy's obsessed with the female form.
It's not just boobs because of boobs.
Yeah, it
Like,
wasn't. Yeah,
They're
He's
either
trying to find the best set.
it's either, well, that's not only that, but they're either used in dialogue like I have all the best parts, and the prostitute shows her boobs. Like that's it has meaning in the story, like in the story.
Well, yeah, because he's not going after them to necessarily have sex with them. He just wants their body parts so he can recreate his girlfriend, essentially.
But I just thought it was odd because he also tells the story from the motion picture whatever rating place.
MPAA.
Yeah, he tells the story of where they someone called them and said that they're rating it S. This is the first movie to ever get a S rating
for shit.
And he's like, "What?" And they said for shit.
What?
And this movie
Yeah.
pretty much, I believe, got it. It had to come released unrated because
They gave it an X.
because of the boobs.
I guess they gave it an X, and then he said, "Full fuck it, then I'm not going to rate it."
Well, I wonder if anything had to do with calling them like crack whores and like really harping on the
Come
prostitution thing.
1990 it had.
So there wasn't a lot of explicit sex in this movie.
Well, there's one kind of sex scene where the girl's getting banged in the toilet in the
Yeah.
little crack den.
It's kind of a rape. Like it's like a weird. It's not even a rape. It's like
no, that's
that was not
I
right.
assumed that was a prostitute,
Yeah.
and the guy was just trying to hold the door shut. That
oh,
she was
exactly.
paid.
he was there to hold the door shut, but he had
yeah,
to,
and
he had to
he
stand right in the
Yeah,
threesome.
he kept
there.
had the
Yeah.
fucking open. I also assumed he was next, maybe.
I thought he was just getting off on it.
That was a twosome with a watcher. More.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
A better way to describe
That's
it.
exactly what it was. Yes, Kyle.
Really quick, did we describe the premise of the film?
I think it's pretty apparent by.
Okay, I didn't think.
I think
did.
we can
never
hobble
do.
that together. A guy wants to build his girlfriend up there.
Yeah, we pretty much.
That's fine. No, I just wanted to
Oh, okay.
clarify if
So
we did that or not.
yeah. So if you don't know what this movie's about, it's about Jeffrey Franken, whose girlfriend dies by his hands, basically because he made this evil lawnmower. She's such an idiot. I love that scene, by the way.
Pretty funny.
She turns on this remote control lawnmower. It runs her over. She gets chopped up to little pieces. He takes some of the pieces, puts them in an estrogen-based solution to keep them alive, and then proceeds to get hookers and build himself his girlfriend back.
Did he take more than one body part, or just the head?
He took the
And
head,
he took the
foot.
head, the foot,
a toe?
a toe,
Was
and
it?
I think in a hand.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I for some reason the head was always the thing that was in the forefront, like for me,
Yeah.
because he was like giving it wine.
I don't
and
think
shit.
he. I don't think he ended up using the other pieces.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Why would you?
I don't know.
Now, so anyways, I forgot where I was at.
You
now.
were,
That's all right.
yeah.
Good
he,
talk.
He wants to
Good
rebuild
talk.
his girlfriend.
You know what? Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
For the rest of the plot,
Stop. Now open them. Dinner. And look! Jeffrey rigged it with this remote control, so you don't even have to push it.
Thanks, son.
Come on, this is your day. I don't want any credit.
He's always been creative.
What? And it's so easy. You just turn it on like this.
Don't stand in front of it.
And this controls the speed and the direction. So when you want it to go, you just press this.
You're on your way, Jeff. Don't stand in front of it.
Okay, so I talked a little bit about it earlier. I want to kind of go back to it about the script, in my opinion, being a little bit of a jumbled mess.
Mm-hmm.
And
the script,
yeah,
or just the story.
the story. Well, that'd be the script.
Okay.
well, I mean, okay,
Right?
that's fine. That's,
I'm
yeah.
thinking about dialogue and
Yeah, yeah.
Dialogue's great and delivery is great. I'm glad they finally made I didn't know that there was a Jersey horror movie.
yeah.
It's about time.
I did not know that. I'm glad this came about.
Thank God.
Wait, isn't I'm probably totally wrong on this. Isn't most of Trauma stuff from Jersey?
Yeah, it's all from.
Yeah. Okay.
And
So that was sarcasm then.
Yeah, they're not horror movies. They're superhero
Comedies.
films.
This isn't a horror movie. This is more of a dark comedy.
This
This
is a dark
is a
comedy.
Trauma that's not made by Trauma.
Yes and no. It's not as gory.
It's not. I don't think. I would argue that this has very different. There's a very different vibe to this than
Yeah,
that
there
Trauma
definitely
film.
is, but you know,
Well, here's
to his point,
this. I'll tell you where it missed the mark. You want to know where it missed the mark and kind of got effed up This is by the ratings board. So no one saw this movie. I don't think when it was. I didn't know about this movie until a year ago or whenever it was, a couple months ago, even this year. I had never heard of this movie before. Anybody else?
Yeah.
I had.
Never. Me personally, never heard of it.
So I had seen Basket Case before.
I remember seeing this cover art in video stores growing up.
I just remember hearing the title, and Frankenhooker is not a hard title to forget.
I remember Frankenfish.
Frankenweenie.
It was more like 90s.
Frankenweenie, that's a great movie. Sorry.
I didn't realize it was made in 1990.
Me either.
I thought it was earlier.
Yeah, me
I thought
too.
it was 80s.
I definitely felt it was earlier.
It definitely had that vibe.
Yeah.
When it comes to like the only thing that I think I can compare it to personally is is Elvira, where I think that Frankenhooker had the potential to be the next Elvira type character, and then was kind of screwed over by its sex. And I think that's the funny thing is this movie is what an Elvira movie should strive to be, in my opinion.
But wait, there's a difference though. The Elvira movies were based off of her character that she created on TV.
Yes.
This is like a movie all in itself. Like this wasn't. It didn't have. There was no character to build off of. This was just it. This is it. This is the only film that exists.
I'm saying
Elvira got away with being sexual without with kind of beating around the bush, and this one is like just went all.
Well, no,
in
what I'm saying
for it.
too is like Patty Mullen had a chance, I believe, with her performance. And what this movie is had a chance to be like the next type of Elvira type character, like a cult film / horror sex symbol.
Okay.
Just as much as Elvira,
Gotcha.
but was kind of fucked over by the 90s and its prudeness.
Yeah,
because there was a lot of boobs in this. No one saw this movie.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess if there's less gratuitous nudity, then yeah, maybe she would
And I
have had a better
it's
opportunity.
It's like what Elvira, and don't get me wrong, I love Elvira. Don't
I
don't
also
get me wrong.
love the nudity in this film. So
But
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
conflicted.
Like, I feel like Elvira always took it to the point to where you thought you were gonna get this movie, and then never gave you this movie.
Yeah.
This is the movie that you always wanted out of Elvira, and you're never gonna get it. And guess what? Patty Mullen had the balls to do it.
Yeah, but can you like think? Could you imagine Elvira making a commentary on like Black America and like poverty-stricken America being addicted to crack cocaine and dying in the streets because it was intended to murder them?
yeah, no,
Like I can't imagine Elvira like going that route.
I feel like Elvira wanted to be more commercial
Is that
than
what-
Frank
hold on.
Henenlotter did.
Hold on, though. Oh no, I agree with that. I don't disagree with that. But I think his idea of commercial is obviously different than everybody else's. Because I think, dude, no, I think if you give this movie to a bigger audience today, this movie is going to be huge. This is, I think, this is why now I am hearing of this movie, why I am seeing it around. It's because it's starting to find its audience.
You think a modern audience would appreciate this film?
I think they would latch onto this movie like crazy.
But I feel like it's already out there though.
It is out there, but it's not near. It's not nearly out there. Is like Elvira's mainstream. This is like the punk rock Elvira.
Well, Elvira's mainstream because she had so many years to build up that following. This, if you just were to throw this at audience members now, like I don't feel like they would latch on. It would just be a fucking sci-fi channel or on Chiller or some bullshit, a Thriller Chiller network.
Well, giving your rating away.
No, no, that has nothing to do with my rating. That simply has to do with my opinion about how modern audiences would view it.
I disagree.
Gotcha.
I think this is a movie that could play right next to Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think this is a midnight movie to all hell, and this is. Are
we talking about modern audiences though?
Yes.
I'm confused because
I'm talking about modern. There is, dude. Yeah.
So if
the reason people latch on to Rocky Horror Picture Show is because I feel like it's mostly stems from a nostalgic thing.
Yeah,
like,
and there's a lot of like audience participation in those kind of things. Like, what are they going to throw in this crack cocaine rock? Every time they say crack, throw pop rock in the air.
You can throw super drugs. You can throw body parts. You can throw. I mean, there's a lot of things.
No,
you
I
can
know,
throw.
but
You can
everything
throw
with that is
boobs.
like you throw toast, you fucking have marshmallows
you
and
can
whatever
make a
they
game
do.
out of it.
You
They
can
can
dress
make
up as different characters from this movie.
I feel like it's
There's no
too
fun.
late.
There's no fun songs in this one.
Yeah, there's
Meatloaf never shows up.
I'm saying it could play alongside of it. I'm saying you
Yeah,
could
it
get
could.
This,
I would. It's fun enough.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it could play alongside of it, but again, if you're playing alongside Rocky Horror Picture Show, you're playing to an audience that's already willing to accept a nostalgic or a kind of a bigger film. I guess going back to what you were saying, that you think modern audiences would appreciate this, I guess I'm picturing it as this movie coming soon, August 16th, Frankenhooker, would bomb.
I don't think so. I think I'm saying in the realm of cult, not like in the realm of cult film. I don't think this has found its cult audience fully yet to its full potential.
Okay, if that's what you're saying, then yes, I'll agree with you.
I am saying that the younger generation will latch onto this movie. I don't think that I think they got to see it. I think if they saw a preview, they might go, yeah, that looks stupid. But if they watch the fucking movie, they'd be like, this movie is hilarious. I think it's a better comedy than Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
I think that this is a bigger cult film than any of Elvira's films. I'm sorry.
You're probably right. The films, not her as a character, but her films
her
for
films,
sure.
Yeah. Not her as a character.
Really? Because her character's so big, wouldn't you think that would play into her films? That more people know that film
But this
because
film
she's
is
a bigger character?
this really is subversive. Like Elvira's films aren't really subversive.
I wouldn't agree with that because we even talked about Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I'm a fan of Elvira, but I'm not a big fan of that movie. Well, as big of a fan, I know Elvira, and I'm much more apt to recognize her and be excited about the idea of Elvira as a character, but watching her movies, I could take it or leave it.
Well, I also kind of think if you ask people, like, have you seen Frankenhooker?
Most people say no.
Yeah, and have you seen Elvira's movie,
Most
Mistress of
people
the
say
Dark?
yes.
Most people say, oh, I think I saw that on TV.
That's what I'm saying. I think if more people have seen this movie, you would Patty Mullen herself.
So you're saying you're saying it deserves a bigger cult following?
100%.
Oh, okay. I mean, I would give you that.
That makes more sense than
okay.
what I thought.
I don't know. I'm saying that, and I think it's going to have a bigger. I think it's working its way there.
If they had like a Joe Bob Briggs type show on now, and they played this, I think it could help it find its audience.
But they can't play it. Too many boobs.
That's true.
That would be a boring movie edited for TV.
That would be really boring.
Well, that
really
that whole scene at the end, or not at the end, but the the fireworks scene.
That's kind of what I want to compare it to too. Think of the final scene of Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. You get the whole boob dance tease. Bro, Patty Mullen gives it to you right in the movie.
Yeah, it's true.
You get it.
There is no tease. You just see him.
Yeah.
Again, it's a matter.
And you're like, woo!
It's kind of a matter of wanting to appeal to the widest audience you can compared to somebody who's willing to just be naked.
Can we also? But there's a difference between the sexuality that's presented in this film versus the sexuality that Elvira presents. This film mixes grotesque, like visuals with nudity and sexuality.
Yes.
Yeah.
This has a much seedier feeling.
Yeah.
When you see, especially when he's looking at the prostitutes, than Elvira, who is like, it's so cheeky and fun. Here I am, and I'm just dancing around.
That's also why I think it would be more successful for a younger audience today. Because take things like that. Look at shows that are popular now: Walking Dead, Breaking Bad. These are all very dark shows,
adult themed shows, yeah.
But sometimes have this is a very dark, adult themed, fun comedy. It's weird.
Crack wars in seedy New York City.
It's a very weird combination.
I would agree with you, but what isn't popular even on TV yet is exploitation. I don't see exploitation.
That's true.
Really coming back. It's not going to become a mainstream thing.
As far as showing nudity?
No. Exploitation in general. This is not just nudity. This is exploiting nudity. This is exploiting the female form.
Yeah.
That's what an exploitation film is meant to do. Like a blaxploitation is meant to exploit the black culture. This is meant to exploit sexuality. Like, that's not something that you really see on TV as being a popular thing.
There's a couple shows like that.
Like, what would you say? Like the
Big
new
Love.
Big Love?
What's it? What's that other one? What's
Californication?
Californication was like that.
That's more like a fun sexual romp.
Hey, what was the other one with Thomas Jane where he was the male prostitute?
That's another, it's a fun sexual romp. That's not...
It's not really exploitation.
That's not exploitation.
Yeah.
Is it?
No, there's a lot of...
They make some of it very fun. Like, dude, come on, super drugs and the girls going crazy and whipping their boobs out. As sad as you want to make it sound, is really funny.
And then they also explode,
which is hilarious.
Right.
They blow up like
you
fireworks.
Wouldn't see that on California.
You wouldn't see that on TV, though. I feel like this is a weird movie that doesn't quite have a home, which is why it doesn't quite have as big of a following as I think it should.
No, see, I think that again, this is where more people now need to see it because it takes the absurd. It's very absurd. In
Most
my opinion.
exploitation.
Do you think viewers nowadays, like modern viewers,
Are into absurd?
Are looking to get like the most absurd and extreme and bizarre characters?
Well, Tim and Eric kind of proved that a little bit.
Their show's canceled.
Yeah, it was very.
They had a good run.
Yeah, they had a pretty good run. Yes, I do think that.
That's
because,
a niche audience, though.
Because
That's
that
true.
show was pretty popular.
That was a niche audience,
it's
though.
huge. I mean, people know Tim and Eric shit, but I would say it is a specific kind of humor for a lot of people.
No, I think absurd is very popular right now.
Really? Because if you look at like AMC, like the shows that they're putting out, it's all like serious character-driven dramas.
Like even Preacher has moments of absurdity. You watch, I think, a little bit of it with me.
Yeah.
But
that's based off a comic book.
But it's still deeply dramatic.
So maybe Frankenhooker would do great as a YouTube series.
Yeah, like Adult Wednesday Addams or whatever that was.
Yes.
I like her as a character. I think she plays that character well, and I can see I could see where you're going with like, oh, you could turn her into that sort of icon, but like
I was bummed there wasn't more of her talking in her like normal voice. Like her doing like the weird twitches and like repeating the hooker.
I
lines.
love that stuff.
But I just thought the character got so much more dynamic at the end when she was actually using her voice, and then she like fucking pieced him together.
Well, that's right.
I was like, okay, I want more of that version of Frank.
We didn't get enough of that version.
See, I like the other version better. I think Patty Mullen's fantastic at physical
there was a
comedy.
couple of moments I cringed. Like I was like, that wasn't that strong.
Yeah,
of a
me
delivery.
too. I was like, ooh.
What?
I can't name the 5 lines that she says. I don't know. But there was definitely moments where I was like, it caught me at first. I was like, cool. She's like repeating all the stuff that all the prostitutes
It wears off quickly.
And then all of a sudden I was kind of like, all right, now I'm sure she's getting tired of doing this. I can kind of tell that she's,
it
like
definitely
forcing it out.
It was great at first. It was a great way to kind of bridge the character with the body parts together. But yeah, I think it wore off a little soon for me personally.
Yeah, I never got that. I thought it was funny every time she said it. I thought the way that she made the character walk, the faces, all that stuff was fantastic.
And that's another thing. Like I would say 75% of the faces, I was like, that's hilarious and funny. And then there was like 25% of those faces that I was kind of like,
I will say
he let her.
It was
he
better
just
than
used what he
Elvira,
had.
where I felt like 95% of everything she said was just like, ugh. Ugh.
Just eye rolling.
I'm sorry that you hate beauty and comedy mixed together.
Mike hates beauty. This week on Cult Film Interview,
we did review Elvira's movie, and we did talk a lot about Elvira. And I'm just comparing her to what I think that I could see Frankenhooker it could have been, but I think was stopped because of the sexual element.
I just don't think it caught on.
I don't think it. Well, dude, because think about it. When you release a movie unrated in 1990, that's no release.
But
nobody sees
hold on.
that.
Let's talk about something though. Then it wouldn't have probably have been a Frank Henenlotter film
What's that?
If we got, are you saying to get rid of the nudity?
No,
Are you saying,
I think that's what makes
that would have been the only way he would have got a legit rating, and it would have been seen by more people.
But this
So
movie-
it's a double-edged
This movie would be
sword.
rated PG-13.
When we're talking
nowadays.
about Elvira versus that, like I feel like if Elvira just decided out of nowhere she was gonna rip her top off and just start dancing and blowing things up, you'd be like, this is not the Elvira that I remember. You would be shocked
This
by
is
that.
way better.
And if Henenlotter had decided to say, you know what, let's just get rid of all the nudity too, and all the cursing, and all the, let's just make this a kind of more of a family-friendly thing, this would probably be not a 62 Rotten.
Listen,
I would have been very happy if Elvira ripped her top off.
Maybe
just so
Frank
to
should have
say.
directed the Elvira movie.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that this is his fault in any facet
I don't think
whatsoever.
that he sees anything about this as a fault. I think he did his film and he did the way he was going to do it, and
then
that
that's
shit got done.
that's what I'm saying. I agree with that statement 100%. But I'm saying because of the time period that it was released, no one saw it. Because
I would
was in
agree.
it?
If it was like the early 80s or even the 80s, I think it would probably have been bigger.
I think
yes,
so.
I understand what you mean by that.
Yeah.
There was a time for it, and it came a little late.
Yeah. Well, no. I'm saying when it came out in the 90s, when everybody was.
Yeah. It came out late. If it had come out earlier in the 80s, it would have done better. It was a late
It would have got.
time.
I think it would have got a rating. I think it would have gotten R. There's no reason this movie should not have gotten an R. Give me one reason. Can't. Because boobs. There's no vagina in it.
You know, the MPAA can be really. It depends. Like we did
context
Wizards. We did
and
Wizards,
shit.
and we were like, how the fuck did this get a PG?
Well, that's
You know what I mean?
Well, that's the other thing it dealt with.
That's that dick-shaped tower.
It dealt with drugs.
Crack.
Yeah.
I mean, people are literally smoking crack in the movie.
But here's the
and
thing:
it looks like
it
crack.
was dealt with it. It was dealt with it with such a comedic tone.
Yeah, super
so.
drugs, dude, is the funniest. I was fucking rolling when the girls would whip out. It's super drugs.
Yeah. Oh my god,
I was
it's
like,
so funny.
I was like, who makes it? Who? They didn't even give it a fancy name.
No, it's just
they
super
literally just said
Super crack.
drugs.
And they lost their goddamn
Their
minds.
minds.
They did.
That was actually. I mean, I had a hard time even laughing about that because I couldn't tell whether or not I was like, this is kind of offensive or is this really fucking funny?
It's so funny.
I did laugh at it. I will be guilty to say that I definitely laughed at it.
It's fucking hilarious.
But it's an exploitation, so I kind of was just like, this is fine.
Absolutely, you expect that kind of shit.
I feel no guilt
For what?
and why in anything that's made in this movie. And that's the weird thing. Is it weird that I find it odd calling it? I guess at the time it was, but I don't feel like it is now an exploitation film. It just feels like a fucking hilarious horror
Dark
comedy.
Yeah.
Like honestly, at the time, that's why I was saying that's why it wasn't successful at the time.
Hold on, wait. There is a. I mean, I think the thing that really puts this as a sexploitation kind of film, that the big scene is him with all the prostitutes grading every little part and like getting the camera getting deep into like a buttocks and like right on a breast.
Yeah, the magnifying glass on the nipple, and
That
he's
is
like, "Oh my
such a-
god!"
But
And he's like
we
pushing
just,
it.
but hold on. We just agreed that we wouldn't put it on a softcore porn level. So
But
There was
softcore
nothing
porn,
really
softcore
pornographic
porn
about
is meant to
that.
titillate. I don't think that sexploitation is always meant to titillate.
No, it's just meant to get as much boobs on screen as you can.
And a lot of times comedy is mixed with it. Like I feel like in a lot of exploitation.
no, I agree with
films.
that. No, I agree with that.
Yeah. I'll tell you about the comedy coming from this film, and his name is James Lorenz. I thought
solid every time.
I thought he was great, dude. I'm so glad he came back because we were talking when we did Street Trash. We're like, oh my God, who is this guy with this doorman? This is the most hilarious combo we've seen. And then I don't think we ever looked up if he was in anything else. And all of a sudden, here he is, pops up as the lead character in Frankenhooker. And I was so excited.
Can I tell you something? I thought he was so god awful first half of the movie.
Really?
Thank you for saying that.
Yep.
I wanted so
He was
badly.
horrible.
I wanted so badly to like, but he's so fucking good when he is making shit up and he's off the cuff. But when he's going off a script, he's not that good of an
Hold on,
actor.
though. I will
and
on-
it really
I wanna-
brought the film down.
I want to talk about, but to keep that in mind in terms of his character and what he had to do. This is a movie about a guy who loses his girlfriend and slowly descends into a kind of insanity.
Yep.
So he has to build up at some point in time. At the beginning, he's just playing around with a brain, but halfway through the film, he's putting a drill in his fucking head.
Yeah, which was crazy.
It's not my issue isn't with how the character develops throughout the film. You're right. It's a logical path for a character to take. I just think he portrayed it badly in the beginning.
In the beginning.
In the
I didn't
front
start. I didn't get on his team until he started kicking the body parts in the bag down the fucking stairs. I was like,
I was on his team when he was driving down the streets. That's when I got on.
that was so
and
funny.
he started just like you could see he was just making shit up. It was like so goddamn funny.
Oh my God.
That's nice right there. This is the street. This is the street I'm turning down right here.
When he talks to himself, man, when he really gets into talking to himself and starts losing his mind, that's when his character shines for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
But even when he stood like towards the end, he's like insane basically. He starts telling his mom. He's got a lot of really long monologues, and like even that one
that monologue's very good.
Yeah, the one he talks to his mom about, he's like, I think I'm going crazy. I'm like losing my mind. And I'm like over here thinking like, Mom, do something. And she's just like, okay, honey, maybe you need to sleep, or whatever. Find a girl.
Yeah. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to find a girl.
But no,
with all the right parts.
The deliveries of his monologues I thought were actually pretty good. And it's mostly him talking to himself a lot in this movie.
I agree, but I feel like just there's something about the performance in the first half of the film I'm not a fan of.
I can't put my finger on what it is that I didn't like about it, but I just was like, it wasn't maybe
Well,
maybe I
I
didn't
think it's-
believe him or something.
I
don't
think, well,
know.
that's part of it. I think, especially the brain scene in the opening, my least favorite scene.
Oh yeah,
I liked
not
it.
a fan.
That was
I liked it too.
What was that a reference to? Like the man with the screaming brain?
Yeah,
or
it was something
like
like that. I guess he had saw it on a poster and it never actually made it into the movie, so he decided he was like, well, fuck, I'll put it in my movie. Basically,
yeah.
I wasn't a fan of the way the movie opened because honestly, I purchased it on Amazon and rented it, and like it's so funny. I hit play and I'm like, did the movie just pick up in the middle? Like it just has a really weird way of opening. You're kind of like thrust into this world, and like him fucking around with the brain was like, this is kind of annoying. And then like then like the lawnmower happens, and it's like, okay, here we go. Now the movie's getting going.
And then that's the weird thing is
like the whole time I could give a shit about him.
It was a rough start.
He played it very. He played in the very beginning, even when he's yelling at Elizabeth, his fiance, very bland in the way that he plays everything. I'm just like how he's trying to get it to follow his hand when he goes out, and he's just like, "Don't stand in front of it."
I feel like his comedy's really dead, or his acting style in general is very deadpan. Like,
it was way better. It was way better in Street Trash.
When he starts going crazy, boom, it picks up.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like he played Street Trash almost.
High energy.
Yeah, but
I don't know if it was high energy. It was deadpan though. It was definitely but it was more honest comedy. It like felt like he was actually fucking hated his boss, and like this is a legit interaction that I'm watching. Whereas like the first half of the film, he just kind of feels like he exists in this world. He's not really quite part of it yet. Right. And then when he starts trolling for the fucking prostitutes, that's when he really fucking kind of comes into his own.
I think I don't know if it was. I almost asked the question if it was done on purpose.
Mike brought up how the character develops like that, which I can appreciate and understand that. I just didn't think it was portrayed well.
I meant the way he's portrayed is more or less, I think, to set up her than him.
Well,
look, I think what happens is they get rid of, they don't do an origin story. That's the best way to put it. If this is a Frankenstein tale, no. We know right off the bat that he has the ability to at least bring to life a brain with one eye.
Yeah,
that's the first thing that you see
in the middle.
It's
of the
not
brain.
like you start off where he's like, I was a medical student in 19 blah blah.
But they
blah,
do
blah,
explain
blah,
that he's gone to medical school.
They explain it through dialogue, but they don't show it in the movie.
No.
They just go right into it like he's a kind of a mad scientist kid. He's doing some pretty unique shit right now. I mean, even when the girlfriend finally finds out that she's been brought back to life, she's like, why aren't you using this for the betterment of society? She's like kind of goes a little crazy about it, like. Until she finds out that her body is pieced together with other.
So maybe if that intro, maybe that intro would have worked a little better if it was recut. Whereas like you're saying, the conversation they're having where they're kind of explaining his background of being an electrician or going to medical school and dropping out. Like if that was what you opened up with, and then it was intercut with little scenes of him in the lab, and then which finally reveals the brain, then maybe the audience would have been like more brought into the world.
It's possible. I think
a smoother transition into the world
with the budget
is cutting scenes around.
Right. Well, I mean, origin stories tend to drag.
You don't even need an origin story because they already had it in the movie. It was misplaced. By the time I'm hearing about him, I'm already supposed to accept the fact that he has a brain on the kitchen table.
Like
and
the
I'm
mother
like,
should.
You're
saying maybe the mother should have brought it up right off then and there. Like, can you stop doing that? Just because he came back from medical school doesn't mean that you can. I honestly
thought that when I first started watching the movie, I thought the movie was going to be more about her than him.
Yeah.
The way it played off in the first half.
Yeah.
It feels like more of an introduction to her and who she is.
Well, they definitely do that, I think, specifically to... here's the thing. I think there is a common theme that is being played throughout this thing, and it is about like female objectification and like women's bodies. Because right off the bat, she starts off with a conversation with her friend about losing weight and stuff, like how she feels really bad about her body.
Lay off the pretzels.
Yeah. Everybody's really like, there's a big thing about, and then I think the ending, when it all culminates to this end, where it's finally like, now how do you feel about having the perfect woman body? And then he's not happy about it.
Right.
And he realizes, like, I think there is a moral to this story that's actually a very good one that exists.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, don't bring dead people back to life.
Well, they could have learned
that in Pet
precious.
Sematary a few years prior.
Even if you think you can.
Elizabeth.
Jeffrey.
What happened?
Some man named Zorro came by here.
Zorro? Here?
Yes. Jeffrey, you were gone.
Dead? How did... What?
Well, you kept very good notes. And of course, I use living parts.
Living parts? What do you mean, living parts? Holy shit! That's not my hand! What are these boobs? Elizabeth, what did you do to me?
I had a kind of a problem with her shoes, even though it was very Frankenstein-y.
I also had a problem with that.
Why?
I loved it.
Loved it.
I loved it. I
was
thought it was
too
a great.
much.
I thought it was a great.
Loved it.
Attempt to.
Loved her top with the pointy nipples through the.
I like that.
the
I just
top.
thought
The shoes,
the
man,
shoes just
killed
like,
it.
Yeah, it just killed
I mean,
the look.
it didn't-
What? They're Frankenstein.
Where would he have gotten those shoes from?
Where do you
I
get a
thought that.
pile of boobs without any?
He blew up a bunch of women in a room and collected them.
Yeah,
we
but you
saw
get-
that happen.
you get-
we
you-
didn't see him
you'll
go down
accept-
to Payless and get fucking Frankenstein
You'll-
hooker boots.
You'll accept that there's no gore related to that. There's just a pile of boobs that you can attach with a
I think he was welding together.
with
too.
a welding
God
machine.
forbid you connect any like bones or anything or
there
muscles.
there was no bones. One of the arms was just a flat piece of cut. You'll accept that, but the shoes you have a problem with.
I'll accept the shoes. I just don't like them.
Oh, I love the look.
I mean, obviously, we all know what he was trying to do. He was
Obviously, yeah,
trying
but-
to do
but
the
it was-
Frankenstein thing. I laughed at it when I first saw it. I was like, "Oh,
Me
that's
too.
kind of funny." That was
Me
about
too.
it.
that was the way you laughed. You're like, oh, that's kind of funny.
No, I know it wasn't like, "Oh my god!" Like I was just kind of like, "Oh, I get it. That's cute."
I thought it felt perfectly into this movie.
It does, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Well, you're wrong.
Maybe it's a cheap thrill. Who knows?
It's just like it's an extra like they throw like let's just throw one more thing in if audience haven't gotten the fact that it's Frankenstein, let's just throw one more thing in that connects it to old Frank.
Can we get to? I'd love to get to how it was shot, like his style of shooting. I think it was very, very unique.
I felt
As far
it felt
as-
like a TV show. Like
Really,
a
I felt
made-for-TV
I felt
movie.
it had a lot of almost comic book moments.
Yeah, it
there are
did.
shots where like extreme close-ups that are there real quickly and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Like when specifically when I don't think that was his mother, but like the other woman that was maybe I
Right.
think the girlfriend's mother.
Yeah, when
at the
the
beginning
first
with
meter?
the brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a scene where it's this really weird angle where it's like over his shoulder, but his head looks so big because it's so
Right.
like I don't
the
know
perspective
the
or whatever.
perspective is like way off, and you get this really feel like this,
Yeah,
you get this feeling
there's a
that
lot
you're
of wide angle lens. That
yeah,
uses
there's a
and,
lot of
like,
usage of that.
close up wide
It made me
angle
feel like
shots.
I'm watching like a comic book frame.
It felt
Like,
it just had
really
that. I don't know.
weird.
I don't know why I keep coming back to it. It just had that '90s horror movie look to it. It just like. Again, I'm going to bring this movie up yet again, but Dead Alive is the same way. There's a lot of
Yeah,
these
this
like
one is.
close up. They're like extreme close ups using almost like a fisheye. It creates this really obscure, stretched, kind of skewed look to it.
Maybe I'm the crazy one here, but I thought there was nothing special about the cinematography.
I didn't really think there was
whatsoever.
anything either. I'm pointing out what he did,
You
but
can't say that there wasn't unique things. It wasn't like he just stuck
Dude,
a camera
there-
and statically just.
I'll be honest with you. I cannot name one shot from
I
this
just
movie.
named two.
You did. I can't.
I want to go back to what I said about
Where?
TV because there was at least twice, maybe a third time, where there was like a fade out, and I'm like, oh, we're cutting to commercials. Because it like
There was one that I noticed,
like,
yeah.
it held out too long. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm going to see what KFC's selling right
Fade
now.
to blacks.
Yeah, I did notice that too. I will agree with
Yeah,
you on
that
that.
was like a bad choice because it made it feel like a made-for-TV movie.
I feel like that was just an editing style at the
I
time.
feel
that was
like the edit-
acceptable.
Could've
Now
been.
it's not.
I feel like the editing was a little bit of a mess.
I didn't have a problem with it.
yeah, I didn't either.
I felt right for the style of film it was.
For the most part, it is like a paint by numbers in terms
Like
of
a comedy.
director
Most comedies
photography.
are. Most comedies
Yeah.
aren't these dramatically shot.
No, what are you guys
what I'm
talking
saying.
about? What are you guys talking about? There are so many things where things are flying at the screen, getting pulled into the screen. There are shots coming out of like refrigerators.
I did
and
not.
Shit.
Maybe I'm.
Yeah, there's a lot of point of view type
Yeah,
shots
there's a
going
ton
on.
of them.
Yeah.
I'll go back and watch for the third time, but I
You watched this twice?
Yeah,
Oh, I can't wait to watch it again.
I'll have to go back and watch it again to try to look specifically at the cinematography.
No, the lighting was great, dude. And
No, I don't
I'll
like
agree
no,
on that.
lighting
I'll
was
agree with you
fantastic.
on that.
It was so good.
I love the lighting. I love the minimal sets that were there. I love them.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
I loved his
The
lab in
gara-
the garage.
Yes.
So fucking
Well, the
good.
garage was 4 times this interior garage
yeah.
was 4 times the size of the exterior of
Makes
the garage.
sense.
Done on
Makes sense.
purpose.
He's got to fit that giant fake. What is that? He had like a spark plug.
Yeah, giant
It's like a
spark plug.
giant spark plug he like brought in.
I was wondering what's in that bag. What's in that bag? And then he like pulled it out. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I love the crack den. I love the hotel.
Yep.
The
The wallpaper was sweet in the hotel.
The sets were definitely good, and yeah, I agree. The lighting was on point.
Yeah,
and just like the honestly the most memorable thing I can think of, the shot to just kind of go back there really quick because it's one of my favorite scenes. Also, was the dude that does have money on the street that she pulls off. The little fat dude,
Jeffrey. We'll call him Little Jeffrey because I think she kept asking for Jeffrey, and he was like, "Yeah, that's me, yeah," and like just took advantage of it.
I mean, that's the most memorable close up that I can remember is just him sitting on the bed talking to the camera. It's supposed to be her.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it for me that I can remember. But I do love that scene. I think that scene's extremely funny.
It's so funny.
And then as she kisses people and they just burn up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was basically.
Oh my God! When Zorro punches her in the head and it flies back and all the electricity comes out of it. That was a pretty fucking
awesome shot.
And then just dangling there and the mouth is still moving and opening and closing. Like I thought the effects actually, for as corny as most might think they are, I thought they were really fun and effective.
No, I thought they
so
were
did
good.
I.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
I totally agree.
It fits. He created this. I gotta give the director that he created this universe that you're either all in or you're not at all.
Yeah,
and you're either jump in and you enjoy the ride, or you're gonna go, this movie's fucking stupid.
Kind of feel like that's how Basket Case is too.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
And Brain Damage, both films that he did, or that are really notable.
Like that's gonna be your I think your attitude and your take towards this. Yeah. So what are we rating this, Mammer Jammer Mike?
Since Henenlotter wanted to recreate this thing that he saw on a poster, let's go with Screaming Brains.
Cool.
Screaming Brains. All
Yeah,
right.
you can pull that off.
Let's start with Kyle.
I'm gonna give this 3 Screaming Brains. I thought it was a really fun film. I thought it was enjoyable. There's a couple things that I already bitched about in terms of acting choice from James Lorenz at the beginning of the film, but he definitely comes into that great comedic timing and that really dry, deadpan sense of humor he has that we all fucking loved from Street Trash. Yeah, I thought it's a really fun film. It's really out there. It's in the vein of the final scene is like just like Society, or you get the same kind of comedic timing and kind of over the topness that you would get from a Dead Alive type film. So I thought it was enjoyable. I liked it. I'll watch it again for sure, just to make other people watch it. 'Cause that last scene where he's facing the upside down torso with a mouth where a vagina should be. I feel like that's just worth it right there to watch the movie. So yeah, I'm gonna do 3 Screaming Brains,
3
or whatever it is.
Screaming Brains from Kyle. I will go next. I'm gonna give this 4. I really like this movie a lot. For me, this is my Elvira. After watching this, I'm hooked. Man, I think this movie is hysterical. I think the main actress has created a character that is a very sexy, very awesome cult film / horror icon. I think it's maybe not there yet, but she is well deserved to be there. In my opinion, I think this movie is very fun. You have to accept the universe it's in, but once you do, you're just along for a really fun, crazy, weird fucking ride, and it's funny the whole time. I was laughing the whole time, so I'm gonna give it 4.
With the exception of the intro, which we both agreed.
Yeah, no, that whole parent scene thing until she gets eaten up by the lawn, the whole lawnmower and the whole diet thing. It was really until it focuses on her, but everything with him sucks in the beginning. I'm sorry, it does.
Definitely.
But 4. That's why it's not getting a 5, Kyle. Next up is Chris.
I am going to give this a 4 also, 4 Screaming Brains. But I would like to watch it again because I feel like I could rate it maybe even a little higher.
So do I.
I just want to get to know the dialogue a little better. I want to rewatch it for to pay more close attention to everything that we've been kind of discussing. But yeah, I love the characters. The James Lorenz, his performance didn't quite bother me as much as you guys in the beginning because I was just excited to see him in another movie. So I was pretty forgiving. And then when it finally started to pick up, I was like, all right, this is definitely in a style that I enjoy, which is like what you said, Kyle, like a Dead Alive kind of style. And then I also kind of felt the Elvira vibe that you're talking about too, except, she definitely doesn't replace Elvira, although I did really like her and I liked her performance. And it would have been cool if they did some kind of a sequel or something to this movie.
Or a crossover.
Yeah, or bring her character back again, for something so that we can see
Frankenhooker meets Elvira.
If it, well, I would be totally okay with that.
You could take my money right now.
As I said, I love the lighting, and I, thought, I don't know, I just thought it was really well put together. It didn't confuse me. I didn't feel like it was jumbled. The script and the monologues and the dialogue I thought was well thought out. And I would definitely recommend this movie if you're into the absurd dark comedy horror genre.
I agree. I like your review. I agree. Mike, how much did you hate it?
I'm going to give this a 4.
Whoa! Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. What? Really? You didn't think I was propping it up a little bit? Here's the deal. Halfway, not even halfway, maybe the first 10 minutes of this film as I was watching it, I have notoriously given trauma films a pretty bad rap on this show. Yeah. And I probably will continue to do so.
Yeah. Rightfully so.
But
why I'm blown away.
We're doing Killer Condom
And
next.
I had thought for a second, the first 10 minutes watching into this, that maybe I had picked yet another similar style of film. But you know what? The difference between this, which I feel is different than something like Autopsy or something like that, is that there is a consistent theme that exists throughout this entire film. All the nudity, all the exploitation, all the things is meant to drive home this one particular theme that actually ultimately culminates into this guy's like ultimate nightmare, which is him turning into the very thing that he was creating and then realizing this is not as great as I thought it would be. Mm-hmm. With that being said, like I'm not a big fan of exploitation for the sake of exploitation, but when it's brought together to try to drive home a theme or drive home a point of a story, I'm 100% for it, and I fucking loved that about this film. So yeah, that's why I'm giving this a 4.
4. I didn't see that coming because I watched this movie. I was like, oh, dude, Mike's gonna hate this.
Normally, you think I would because I'm not a fan of trauma, but this is it's a different story when I feel like it's not just done.
Yeah,
just for shock and awe.
And I don't think it was. I think
me neither.
Everything played into the story or the comedy itself. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I agree with that. All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Make sure you follow us on social media at cultfilm_view on Instagram and Twitter. You can also follow us on Facebook. Make sure you like us and rate us 5 stars on Instagram. Or not Instagram. What am I talking about? iTunes.
Or Instagram.
Yeah, fuck it. Just write. I rate you 5 stars.
5.
Whatever.
It's not as good as iTunes, but maybe you could beat it.
You could just move it over to iTunes. No, we really need your help. Please rate us on iTunes. It really helps us out. Helps us more people hear us.
And we love your comments on Instagram too.
So we keep them coming.
Yeah,
just everywhere. Just
everywhere.
Just yell
talk
at
to us.
Even
We like
tell us
talking
you don't
to you.
like us. I don't care.
People are already talking to me about wrestling. It's cool.
Wrestling.
It doesn't have to be about movies. So you can just do that.
All of that stuff. That just got barfed out onto the air. Just do it all.
Terrible. You can follow Kyle.
You can follow me, cultfilm_Kyle on Instagram and Twitter.
It is a private account, so make sure that he does follow you back.
You have a private account?
His Instagram is. You can follow.
I do, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, gotta monitor that shit. There's a whole lot of spam porn accounts that would have just been all over the place if I didn't have a private one. So
okay,
gotta keep that shit on lock.
You can follow Chris at
cultfilm_Chris on Instagram, or you can go to midnightreleasing.com and check out some upcoming titles. I think right now we are working on a film called Elder Island, which is based on a true story, an island in Michigan that like a religious extremist used to kind of run, and basically the people overthrew him and killed him, and apparently his spirit haunts this island, and it's like kind of an urban legend in the Michigan area. So
if you're from Michigan, check it out.
All right.
You can follow Mike at.
You can find me at Mike Salicio on Twitter. I'm done.
That's it.
All right,
guys. Thanks for listening to the show, and remember, if you're gonna join a cult, just make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.
Where's my Johnson?